Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We have the prayer and the pledge by Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte.
I'd like to say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art
in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Golson.
Here.
Councilmember Brooke Marcotte. Here. Councilmember Marlon Lewis.
Here.
Councilmember David Broussard.
Here.
Councilmember Deidre Ledbetter. Here. Councilmember Dee Dee Johnson-Reed. Here. Councilmember Dustin Swear.
Item 1 is public comment. I don't see that we have any public comment cards. I will take this time to ask you to put your cell phones on vibrate. And since we have none, we will move on to item 2A. Madam Clerk.
Acceptance of the minutes of January 5th, 2021.
Motion.
As published on January 17th, 2021. Sorry.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Lewis and a second by Councilwoman Ledbetter. Is there any discussion on our minutes? Hearing and seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Way to be quick. Madam Clerk, item 3.
Persons to address the council. Mr. Prescott Marshall from Iberia Parish Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness to discuss 2020 Iberia Parish Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Council, Mayor.
Good evening.
Apologies to those of you I haven't met. Press Marshall, I'm the Parish's Emergency Preparedness Director. I'm also the 911 Director. The action, I think, Mayor, it's an adoption for the city of New Iberia. This doesn't obligate the city to do anything in any way. FEMA requires potential hazard mitigation grant recipients to have documented that they've participated in a hazard mitigation process. And hazard mitigation is essentially documenting what your hazards are, and you can guess ours are primarily hurricane related. And so the hazard mitigation plan, the Iberia Parish Hazard Mitigation Plan that you participated in, Gordon Capel was your lead for that. We did also have a couple of public meetings. We had to do them virtually because of COVID, but we did hold them. And this is a 5-year process. So this is essentially an update to the plan that you or your predecessors would have adopted 5 years ago. And if you have adopted and participated in a hazard mitigation plan, that makes the city eligible for hazard mitigation grants. These grants are different from, say, a Homeland Security grant, which might pay for police radios, for instance. Hazard mitigation grants come a few different ways. Right now, I'm working on, with your sewer district or your sewer department, on a grant to purchase some generators. Typically, these grants are 75-25, so the recipient would pay 25% share. I'm doing the same thing with our sewer district, in fact. So by adopting this, you will preserve the city's eligibility for FEMA hazard mitigation funding that we get. Sometimes we apply for it as part of an annual cycle. Sometimes you get it after, God forbid we have a major storm. A municipality and a parish can see significant amounts of hazard mitigation funding. FEMA's approach is we don't want to have to pay out all these damages again. Here's some money. You can mitigate those hazards. We hardened all the city's fire stations, I think about 8 or 10 years ago, with funding from probably Hurricane Gustav. So unless there are any questions, my recommendation, Mayor, certainly would be that the city adopt the hazard mitigation plan update and preserve your eligibility. Yes, ma'am.
I do have a question. On the community rating system, is there a reason why Iberia Parish is not participating in that? Because it says it reduces flood insurance premiums for residents.
I don't want to answer incorrectly. I thought we were participating or we're working on participating by collecting information. Ma'am, I don't want to make up an answer. I would have to ask and get back to you. I don't know exactly. I thought we were, or we were working on participating, and I just may not understand what the threshold is to be declared as a participant.
Thank you.
I didn't hear the question. I heard the response, but I didn't hear the question. Take your mask off. Yeah.
Okay, DJ, I'm sorry. No, I was asking about the community rating system.
Okay.
That particular program allows us to, it helps to reduce the premiums for the residents in Iberia Parish that have to buy flood insurance.
Okay.
And it says that we don't participate, so I was just wondering why we don't participate and if we're moving toward that.
Okay.
Okay.
It's only for people who are in the flood zone.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
because if you're not in the flood zone,
Right.
you can purchase it, but it doesn't help your rate
right, it does.
Yeah.
And so I was just wondering, because we actually have quite a few people
in the flood zone.
in the flood zone.
I'm going to find out.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Anybody else have any other questions? And our resolution will be coming under 5B. So we will work on passing a resolution a little later in the meeting. Good. Thank you. Thanks for all you do.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
You too, sir. Madam Clerk, public hearings. Item 4, 4A.
Public hearing on ordinance 21-01, authorizing the mayor to sign a contract for computer services and maintenance between the City of New Iberia and Vince Como LLC.
Do I have a motion to open our public hearing?
Second.
By the Mayor Pro Tem, Ricky Gonsalas, a second by Councilman Lewis. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? Hearing, it's public comment. You don't have to. Okay.
Can we ask questions still?
Yes. In public comment time, our council can ask questions, huh, Jeff? It's for everybody. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you want to go first? No, you can go. Okay. Okay, so when we first talked about this, I guess a couple of weeks ago, we really didn't kind of go over Vince's contract. And so, I mean, in looking at it, I guess I just have some questions, Vince. One is, how many people are on this account from your company?
There's 4 employees
Okay,
that we have, counting myself.
okay, all right. And so you, in some of this, I didn't see where there was like any definitions of service level agreements. The only thing I saw really was where you said that the termination, you said that you could terminate within 30 days of the renewal by email.
Yes, ma'am.
But what after the termination? Because that's just after 30 days of the renewal, but there's no termination clause in this contract, so that for non-performance, the city has the right to terminate. Did you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, and so I just, being an IT person, I know how that stuff works, and
Right.
so I'm just asking, can we get a little more meat to the contract, because we have no out after 30 days. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's no non-performance clause or termination clause in here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, we haven't had a Brent Vincent's
We've been here. We've been here
He's
about
been
a
here
year.
performing these services for a while.
year.
And I haven't had one problem with it. What he's taken over is not really the meat of the contract. That he's already in a contract with us.
Okay.
That basically
Yeah,
has
we've
the
pretty much
day-to-day.
done the hard work.
Yeah. Basically, this
getting
is
it to this
taken
point.
over to where we get an Azure account for ourselves, and we now control our own account. The hard part, the contract he's in now, is the of all the meat and potatoes of the day to day. Is now we document every call, and I can tell you if I have a problem, I'm not going to pay him until it's a monthly pay.
Right.
What we do with all our contracts is track everything. Hillary does a good job of tracking employees' calls, and when I have a problem between Sandra and Hillary, I know where they're working and what's being done and what's not being done.
And I understand
I do
that.
bill him by the month. He bills by the
Right.
month. So if I got a problem, my out clause was I'm not paying you till I resolve my problem.
Okay, so
I'm
legally,
not being ugly, but
Mr. Simon,
I
Jeffrey
mean,
probably.
I'll
I'm
be
not
honest with
sure.
you. If at some point y'all not happy with the services, look, I'm from Niagara. I've been here all my life. If y'all not happy, and y'all find somebody that y'all are more happy with, my answer is, I guess let's go ahead and do it.
can we
know.
amend the contract, Jeff, to just add an out clause? Approve it tonight and just add an out clause?
Well, okay, and so
If that-
here's why I'm saying this, because today, we're probably one of your largest clients,
Yeah.
okay? tomorrow you get another big client, your services could change here. So we don't have anything written. If he takes on another big client, we have nothing in here that says that we get priority over another client. You see what I'm saying? So, or if we decide he's not performing, we don't have an out to say, okay, I mean, I know it's a handshake, I get it. But at the same time, it's never a problem until it's a problem. And it's not written down in the contract, then now we got a problem.
Well, then let's just, if it's okay with you and it's okay with Jeff and Vince, we'll approve it and I'll just add out clause that Jeff will write up for us.
So
And
what's the out clause gonna say?
that basically for non-performance, you know, might have to say either side can get out because he might want out too.
Absolutely. He should have a
He
right
might
to
get the
terminate
bigger
as
client
well.
that pays a lot more. So we
Yeah.
have a contract that we do them sometimes. It makes a weak contract that way. You know, it's a very weak contract when you start out clauses because
Well-
people look for excuses to run, or
Well,
vice versa. You know.
it depends. Well, again, this is all about protecting the city. His business is a much smaller business. So
Yeah.
I've seen it happen where everything's great and then all of a sudden something changes and then we have no recourse.
Yeah, and some of our contracts have an out clause, some of them don't.
Okay.
There are many times that only the city has an out clause because
Absolutely.
I have a good attorney.
Right.
We like
I'm just bringing it up. I'm not.
Okay.
I
We
wanna
have
point it out.
parameters for performance in the contract. We know what he needs to do. So if we give ourselves an out clause that he doesn't do it, that's a good contract. I'm fine with it if you're fine with it.
So is it
But
unconditional?
it's time sensitive because Raiders is leaving. In other words, one thing that, I'll put all my cards on the table. Raiders has a cutoff date to leave. So it's imperative that I make sure that I have, no offense, Vince, but I got him tied up under a contract as soon as I can before
Please don't
Raiders.
hear me saying that we shouldn't do the contract. I'm just trying to
No,
make
no,
sure
but
that
what
we're
I'm saying
covering the
is,
things that need
yeah,
to be protected.
I understand. So I
Okay.
think we can pull that off. I think
I'm
Jeff
good
can
with that.
amend it, and then we'll have an out clause, and we'll sign our contract, and we're protected.
Okay.
Yeah, is it gonna be for cause or without cause, or how are we gonna?
Well, it should be fair. It should be for cause.
Cause.
In other words, I made
Yeah.
a deal with the man and shook hands with him, and he's doing a good job
Have we
for us.
defined the job enough to know
Yes, I
when
think
cause
that
exists?
we can define that enough quickly that, you know, if he's not performing, but it has to be for cause. I can't just say,
Yeah, no,
Vince, I'll
it's
see
for
you later.
cause.
You know, I found somebody for $10 cheaper a month. I'll see you later.
No,
I'm not
it
going to
needs
do
to be
that.
for cause.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
My question is, it said that was only for the computers for the city, not the police department. What happens with the police department? They have a separate? Not
Yeah.
one?
I mean,
They have someone.
they have an IT person in-house, and
Okay.
they have contracts that are on their own. But
I'll be
Vince
honest
does,
with you, we assist them
yeah,
whenever-
Vince does do some stuff with
Yeah,
them as well.
And at no
And-
cost. I mean, we assist them
Yeah,
if they need help.
and he has and will continue to. Actually, Vince's new office, on-site office, is going in the CID building, so he'll actually be closer to the IT person with the police department because they work so well together. So
Yeah, I
he
mean,
does assist.
As long as Kellum's there helping them,
Hmm?
I mean, we're gonna continue to help, both of them. It's to our benefit to do that.
Okay.
I was just concerned about the other
Yeah,
computer.
we don't want to leave him behind.
Yeah.
One more question is.
Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned that you recommend purchasing the hardware and software through your company.
Well, I recommend it. It's not, I mean, we've always done stuff with them where they purchase their own. I just ask that they ask us before they purchase.
Okay.
So that I don't
Yeah.
support something that we don't feel is
No,
the right thing.
I agree.
The way it works, Dee Dee, is we want his approval, and then once
Yeah, I mean,
Kevin goes shop.
Yeah.
In other words,
they either purchase it from us or I'll send Kevin the link. This is what we need.
Yeah.
But I
No, no,
always want
that's
approval
fine.
because if we're gonna support it, I wanna make sure it's the right
I
thing
can't
for
buy
the
junk and
network.
expect him to service
Right.
it.
I know, I agree with you 100%. I wouldn't do it either. My question was really about who owns the license. I was trying to see, do you purchase or do we purchase?
No, all licenses are purchased through
Okay,
the city.
okay, that's good. That's all I was checking.
That's where we're
One
moving
reason
towards.
Okay.
I'm moving is so that we do. Right now, we don't own all of our licenses, and that
Okay.
irks me.
Right.
We did
Yeah.
that in an emergency situation from a hack that shut the entire city down. It worked for a while, but for me, and Vince says the same thing, we want to own our own license.
Yeah, if something
Yeah.
happens with me, I mean, I don't want the city held hostage where they
Absolutely.
want their, I want them
So
to
that's-
have their.
I was
part
just
of-
asking for clarification.
That's part of the move.
Yeah, okay.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
So Jeff, on Jeff, on the out clause, I'm assuming that it's gonna be determined on the vote of the council if that should come to an issue, right? Not just on credit. If there's an issue, I mean, we're approving the contract as a council, so if there's an issue, it should be based, comes back before the council before an out clause is issued. I mean,
Well, it's a good question.
It is.
Ordinarily, those things are left to the.
I mean,
to
the reason I'm asking is we
Yeah.
all voting on it, I don't
Correct.
wanna put Freddie in a
Yeah.
position.
Oh, no, usually it's up to me.
I know, but
Yeah,
I'm just.
usually it is.
Usually
but
it is.
Just whatever you feel comfortable.
I'm comfortable with it because I'm in that position quite a few times. In other words, normally what we've done for the last 4 years is y'all have given me the approval to negotiate the contracts, to accept the bids and
You fine
negotiate the
with it?
contract. I'm fine with it. I can take the
good.
heat either way.
Okay, I'm good. with
It's
that.
coming on me no matter what.
Yeah, and
I'm good.
you know, I think the mayor's given authority as executive to carry out the contract.
Okay,
And if you got an issue, I think that's the best way to handle it. Otherwise, you can looking at delay,
sure.
and you're looking at stuff going on in public, where you may want to negotiate something with Vince's company, and you can't do it because you have to wait 2 weeks and talk about it in public.
That's a good point.
And the mayor, if I'm correct, picks professional services. There are things that I bring to this council, and will continue to. I'm not beating my chest. There are many things I bring to this council that I wouldn't have to, because the mayor's right is to pick professional services. But I bring everything because I want us all to be on the same page and know what's going on. You know. So anyway. Anybody else?
I think that's the best way to handle it.
No, I agree.
Okay.
That's just one of the explanations.
Good question. Anybody else? Well, good questions. Then what I need now, thank you, Vince. I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Broussard and Councilman Lewis. Thank you all very much. Good discussion. Let's go to item 4B, Madam Clerk.
Public hearing on ordinance 21-02, authorizing the mayor to execute a commercial service agreement between the City of New Iberia and Cox Louisiana Telecom LLC for phone, facsimile, internet, and cable services.
Do I have a motion to open our public
moved.
hearing?
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, a second by Councilman Lewis. Is there anyone here in the public to make a public comment? Yes, ma'am. No?
That's the
I know you don't have a public comment. Okay. Is there anybody here that has any questions? No questions? And no public comment. Okay. Then I need a motion to close our public hearing.
Second.
Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte and Councilwoman Deidre Ledbetter. Thank you all very much. Now we move to 4C.
Public hearing on ordinance 21-03, authorizing the mayor to execute a contract between the City of New Iberia and Rapid Scale Incorporated, a Cox business company, for Microsoft Office 365 products, licenses, and services.
Do I have a motion to open our public hearing? Motion. Whoa, it went all over. I think it was Councilwoman Marcotte, but I don't know who has the second. Councilman Broussard. Thank y'all. Is there anyone here to have any public comment on this item? No one from the public? Anyone from the council?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So this rapid scale is, again, just similar. I don't see anything about how they're going to perform as far as, I'm not seeing the SLA in here, service level agreements. And they're a Cox business company, so I'm trying to figure out, is it the same thing as Cox? Is it the same support system? Just
think it
trying
is,
to
but-
understand that.
We have our rep here.
Two of my engineers on the line, both of them have been exposed to COVID. So excuse me for being on the phone, but they're kind of in my ear. So the question was, what is the SLA? There is an SLA for rapid scale. It should be, if it's not in front of you, it's a, go ahead, Andrew. The SLA.
I have the SLA for the internet,
For the
but
other
I
one.
don't have rapid
We
scale.
have it for the other one. We have the Cox in here. We don't have it for.
You don't have the rapid scale SLA? Okay. Maybe we could just re-email it to you because it was in that group. It was in the packet. But there is a 15, it's the same as Cox, but it's 15 minutes. He did have his own in there. 15 minutes. 15-minute response time.
And Rapid Scale is a Cox company.
And Rapid Scale is a Cox company, so it falls into the master agreement, and all of the locations fall into the master, which is the main location.
So it's the same general terms?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because I understood when I did a contract with Cox, and I did this one too, I had everything from Cox.
That's correct.
With this one was what
That's
I
correct.
had understood, but I'm glad we asked him.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion, questions? Hearing, seeing none. I need a motion to close our public hearing. Councilwoman Morcott, and I'll give the second over here. Councilwoman Reed. Thank you. Now we move to item 5A.
Resolution 21-10, a resolution ordering and calling a special election to be held in the city of New Iberia, state of Louisiana, to authorize the renewal of a special tax therein, making application to the State Bond Commission in connection therein, and providing for other matters in connection therewith.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Councilman Lewis. Do I have a second? Second. Councilwoman Morcott. Is there any discussion on this? Remember, this is our recreation tax renewal. Any discussion? Hearing, seeing none. Please vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Now we go to 5B. Heating up.
Resolution 21-11, a resolution in support of the Iberia Parish Hazard Mitigation Plan as presented by the Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness.
Do I have a motion?
I move.
Motion, Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. I need a second. Councilman Broussard? Thank you, sir. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Hearing and seeing none, I ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Madam Clerk, 5C.
Resolution 21-12, a resolution approving the use and accepting the donation of surveillance cameras.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Lewis and a second by Councilwoman Morcott. Is there any discussion on this item? Yes, ma'am.
You gonna put me on the council?
No, I'm having fun. I don't know about you, but I'm having fun.
Okay, so, they're gonna be donating these cameras to us. After they've been donated, who's actually gonna be responsible for maintaining?
I'm gonna
them?
give you the whole, if you let me. How about I give you the whole rundown of everything I know, and then you pick me apart after
That
that.
works.
Or
Works.
tell me it's okay. They're gonna own the cameras. They're donating the use of the cameras.
Okay.
So basically what's gonna happen, this company's coming in, we have the poles, all right? Because CLECO owns every pole. We will own 19 poles, so they're city poles, so we own the poles. The camera locations were selected with much input from the NIPD because we want them in the highest crime areas where we need to do the most good, okay? All our goal is to fight crime. So the cameras are donated, the use of the cameras. The person that owns the company, Brooks Bernard, he is the only person who looks at the information on the cameras. We request, we had an incident on, Hopkins Street, we give him the address, we tell him the time, this is the incident, he scrolls through the cameras, he finds what is pertinent, he sends it to the police department. And very, very select few people see that. One or two people see that on our end, okay? So that's and we capture that to help us fight the crime. They can identify anything from a license plate, the cameras are very high tech, you can identify people. That is what's gonna help us to deter the crime. But it is no charge to us. So they maintain the cameras. They are totally responsible for them, and we don't want them because they're very, very expensive cameras. Let's let them, by the generosity of this deal, let's let them do it. If anything changes in the future, that's a whole nother deal. In other words, we are signing for exactly what I'm describing to you, and that's it.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of talk, and this is going around. You've seen it in other communities, and they're going back and forth on it, but that's simply what we're doing. And that allows us to have law enforcement. If you figure the new drone we just bought, that you can fly right here, and I can tell who's walking in Super One. When you combine that with these cameras, when you combine this with the total station that 3Ds our crime scene that we will be up and running on fairly shortly. We're now getting training on that. If you look at we even have some crime software that connects all the dots in crimes. all of that technology that we are investing in is coming online, and this is just another part to help our officers.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's kind of the whole story. Yes, sir.
So he owns the data?
He owns
He
the
owns the
data we
information.
request. Correct.
Okay.
And that gets us out of some issues. I mean, I think it's better that he owns it and we request, can you help us on this location, and here's the time and here's the crime.
And once he helps us and gives us access, then it may be public record.
It might be.
But until then,
If it's case related, you already don't know, because that goes to the district attorney's office or the city prosecutor's office, depending on if it's current investigation.
yeah, in the beginning.
Yes.
Yes. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I guess the only thing I'm thinking, so, and I just want to put it out there, so he have a choice to pick what he thinks a crime is and what have you?
No.
Or we
No, it's
request after we have a crime, we say,
we have a crime. He can't just say, "Oh, I don't think that's a crime," and that's in it.
so he's basically
He can't
not
pick
looking
and
at him
choose.
until we ask him to.
Correct. He might be looking at him and he might see something but he's doing this in many communities. He's
Correct.
one little man. There's no way he's looking and going to catch.
Familiar-
It's by request. It's too much information. I mean, he's got hundreds of cameras out throughout Acadiana, so it's a request. We had an incident. Here's what we're looking for.
Correct, and I'm familiar with him and the cameras and with the good he's doing in the community.
And I still have to
Business.
bring the contract to y'all. What I do things, like I said, a little differently. I brought this as a resolution that y'all would support it. Then I knew, okay, hey, they want to do it with us. Then I'll say, okay, when the polls are up and before the cameras go up, then I'll bring the contract. And then we can look at the contract and I'll feel comfortable with that. But I didn't want to go, there's so many moving parts to this. I didn't want to go to the next level with the polls and CLECO and all that if y'all were going to say, hey, I don't want it for some reason.
So, man, we get 19 cameras,
No, we're getting 19 locations and we're getting 65 cameras.
65 cameras. Okay.
Because at those 19 locations, they go in many different directions.
Okay.
They've gone out. He's actually come, ridden with the police department. The police department has spent a ton of time researching this and looking at our crimes. And of course, we are looking for violent crimes, and those are the kind of things we're trying to deter. So a lot of thought has gone into where these locations will be.
Gotcha. So 19 times 2 on some corner, 19 times 3 on some corner, 19 times 4, equal
Yes,
up
sir.
to 65.
Yes, sir.
On some corners, depending.
Yeah, a total of
Okay.
65 cameras.
Okay.
And the agreement has a term?
We haven't got the contract yet. I am sure the agreement will have some kind of term and some kind of renewal. I mean, he wants to give them to me for free forever, I'll take them, but I'm sure that there will be some kind of, some terms. But like I said, I wanted to flesh this out with everybody that our intent is to do it, and then I'll bring the contract whenever we get it.
I think it's great for business. That's
I
one
do
comment
too. I
wanted
think
to
it's
add.
another tool that helps us. We got a great community. We got a great police department. We all know we have issues. We all know that we continue to have incidents that disturb all of us. I want every tool I can to fix it.
And Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
because we don't get this out enough. I talk about it because a lot of crimes that happen in my community, shooting, what have you, when I go to Opelousas, Lafayette, and y'all heard me say this before, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, friends I have, they ask what's going on. A friend of mine called me from Lafayette last night about what happened this weekend. And man, I just remind them, these problems are universal. This is happening everywhere. So what you're doing and Mr. Brooks is doing is a benefit to our community to make us more ready to do business. A community that doesn't have this going on is beneath us in terms of recruiting business.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
I just, as much as I can say it, because I know there's a camera there, people need to know that New Iberia ain't the worst community to live in. These problems are happening everywhere. And these are steps to making it safer.
There you go.
To
And
do
I know
business.
we're going to have many discussions on steps to try to work on our issues and work on them as a community, just like every other community should be doing as well. I sometimes think if you want to know the truth, we should link up with the communities around us because it is a bigger picture. You'll look at, believe me, as the guy who's got to sell this place and who's very involved with the police department from day one, every time there's a shooting anywhere, my ears perk up because I want to hear about it and I want to know. And we are not exempt. And, the same day that they're reporting ours, if you watch the news, they're reporting in other, I don't need to start naming communities, but they're reporting crimes and shootings and killings in other communities just as well. And I really try to keep track of that. Not because I like it, but because it shows me that we are not exempt from it, number one. Number two, that we have the same problems many of our surrounding communities have. And the bigger picture solution is not going to be easy, but it's something that really we should work on as a region, because it's a bigger problem than just a police department can solve or just city government can solve. it's a much larger scale problem than that. That doesn't mean we shouldn't try, but this is one small, tool to add to the arsenal. Mr. Broussard, Councilman Broussard.
Yes, sir. It's not just the West End. It's not just Ann Street.
correct.
It's all over. I hope you're checking out that shot that happened on Gibbs Street. I hope you're returning calls to the neighbors. It's a nice subdivision in there. In back of Darby Real Estate, off of Amador. They had a shot this weekend. They had about 5 people call me about it. And it's a certain house that's kind of under surveillance. So we thank you, sir. But it's everywhere, Marlo.
Trust me, I
It's
know.
happening everywhere. And that shook me up when in my area it's happening. So I hope, Chief, if you can, check up on that Gibbs and return some calls to the neighbors.
Gotta be cool.
Thank you.
Let me tell you, the day-to-day, going out, I know we're on cameras, but going out and seeing what the police department's doing and going to, unfortunately, shootings and homicides and other things that happen in our community that we would rather not think about, we've got a good group. I mean, we had that uptick in homicides last year and all but 2 are solved, and we're working on the last 2. I'm telling you, we have a very good group, very dedicated people who put a lot of hours in. Can they be tweaked a little bit? And, can we work on officer friendly? Can we work on some of the issues that we bring up? Yeah, but when you look at the crimes they're faced with, the manpower we have, the fact that we're 2 years old and still buying equipment and still developing the department, when you look at the solve rate and the amount of time that these men and women are putting in and go and see the situations that they're put in on a daily basis, it's a really good group. It really is. We got our issues, but boy, I'm proud. I mean, they are a good group. Anyway, any other discussion? No? Then I would ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Madam Clerk, 6A.
Introduction of Special Ordinance Number 2020-2021-04, amending the budget to recognize Facility Planning and Control 2021 Project Number 50ML1-20-01, and to set for public hearing on February 2nd, 2021.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Councilman Broussard and Councilwoman Marcotte. Do we have any discussion on this item? Hearing and seeing none, I would ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Madam Clerk, 7A.
Adoption of Ordinance 21-01, authorizing the mayor to sign a contract for computer service and maintenance between the City of New Iberia and Vince Como, LLC.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, a second, Councilman Broussard. Is there any discussion? With my one ad. See no discussion, please vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Vince, I'll get it to you as soon as we change it. Add that one clause. Item 7B.
Adoption of Ordinance 21-02, authorizing the mayor to execute a commercial service agreement between the City of New Iberia and Cox Louisiana Telecom, LLC, for phone, facsimile, internet, and cable services.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Councilman Lewis, I think, and Councilman Broussard as the second. Is there any discussion? No discussion? Then I would ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Madam Clerk, 7C.
Adoption of Ordinance 21-03, authorizing the mayor to execute a contract between the City of New Iberia and Rapid Scale Incorporated, a Cox business company, for Microsoft Office 365 products, licensing, and services.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by the Mayor Pro Tem. Second by Councilwoman Marcotte. Any discussion? Hearing. Yes. Yes. We have to add the S. We'll have to add. If you can get us the SLA, so we can add it to it. I will make a note of that. Any other discussion?
Just on a rapid scale.
Yeah. Yeah. Hearing and seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, item A.
Jimmy Landry to discuss dilapidated and dangerous condition of properties at the following locations.
And let me just start. These are some that we're turning in, and this is the what's on deck list. What we're going to try to do between actually taking action on demos is bring other houses up, because we've done this one other time, and one person said, I'm going to fix it, and one person tore it down themselves. So we're just going to continue to ask you to prioritize houses while we have money, and we want to keep the train moving of cleaning our community up. So these are just for Jimmy to give us some quick highlights on them and hopefully spur someone to fix them. Go ahead, Jimmy.
This is in District 1. It's 124 Santa Inez. You can see right to the right of the front door at the top, the house is burnt. It burnt in 2018. And they boarded it and left it. So I don't know where they at. But this is one house. The next one.
Like ask you questions real quick. Like
Yeah, you can if you want, sure.
okay, just at this point, you guys have tried to reach out to the owners.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Oh,
Not
okay.
yet.
This is all we
Presented
doing is
to
saying
get their
this is the next
attention.
one. When we called and asked everybody to give us a house,
It's not the next one. We got 6 on deck.
right?
Okay.
But then
We're just going to
after-
keep them coming. This is
Yeah.
the highlights that someone will
Hopefully-
recognize, or in your district you'll know, because most of the time
Hopefully
you turn
somebody
this
will
house
see
into
it
me.
and, hey, we
Okay.
saw your house on the
Right.
city
Okay.
council meeting.
Gotcha.
Or if you know,
You
because
need to
you've turned
contact
in, if you know who they are, you might run into them. I mean, but this is an early opportunity. You're doing them a favor in a way of saying, I wish you'd fix it before we have to take action, before we're going to tear it down. Why don't you do something with it? So in a way, it's kind of a wake-up call that I'm using as kind of a friendly, hey, why don't you do something about that before we have to take action?
And I think when they start seeing activity tearing it down,
Yes.
they'll recognize that, maybe I have something that needs to be addressed.
Right.
I passed by it and I saw it looks like newer sandbags, like from the last storm, so bright orange sandbags.
Under the carport. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that.
So it's like someone might have cared for a
Yeah.
moment about
Yeah,
flooding, but
Maybe
I
they're
don't
going to see
know.
this and realize it's at some
Okay.
point we're going to address it.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
there's a lot of people that watch the meetings, and if they see the house, like the neighbors or
Worked
whatever,
twice already.
hopefully.
Okay,
Yep.
that's
All right.
all I had. Thank you.
Anything else?
No?
District 2. I did do a little research. This house burnt in 2015,
Okay.
so nothing's been done. He had some trash at the road. We had to pick that up, but that's coming.
And you see, we're realizing how long some of these are lagging. We're on to the next one. We're on to the one that we're getting the most complaints about. But what's happening, we have, 2015, that's, it's too long.
That's
So
almost
by
5
showing
years.
these and saying, hey, let's do something, I'm trying to revive our process where it gets a little faster. Well, a lot faster. Anyway.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
because the process is awesome. I like the process, like Ms. Brooks said, to get their attention. Would it be feasible or doable for us to get the contact information, to contact the owner, just give them an extra,
Sure.
call,
Call
courtesy
them
call
all.
from the, okay,
Uh,
all right.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we get people who don't
Now-
know their house on the list, they
now
get, y'all
sometime-
tearing our house, so we can be proactive and let them know.
Sir.
Sometimes I will have contact information. I do have the assessor's site that I can find the owner's name and address.
Okay.
But I mean, sometimes if they've had a permit in the past and they still own it, I might have a phone number.
Okay.
And that's what this is about, kind of, in a nice way, holding people accountable, because it's not what that house represents, it's what the neighborhood represents. It's what that house is doing to the 4 houses around it. And that's how I never look like I'm picking on a house. I'm protecting the neighbors and worrying about their interests. So this is a nice way to say it's coming.
All right? District 3. It's on the 103 Doris.
Boarding up. I'm tired looking through and through houses. There's a certain character we're talking about. And look, we told him many a times to board it up. He doesn't want to do anything. So that's a problem we having. So if he doesn't want to at least board it up or come to the meeting, we're giving him notice right now. Come to the meeting and tell us what you're going to do with it. Because the neighbors are on my back. hard on this house. It was a good house, even before he bought it, and people living in it. But I'm not gonna name a name, but he better come visit, at least board the thing up, or we taking it down.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. B.
All right, District 4, 1612 Bryan Street. Any questions? Nope.
Nope.
All right. District 5, this one's on West Dale, 132.
Oh, yeah. And how long has that house been there, Jimmy?
Oh, God.
And I'm asking. I mean,
Well,
that's
the
kind
trees fell in one of the two storms this year,
this
I
year.
want to say.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that one's been there a little longer than this year.
Yeah.
Last year.
Oh, yeah,
It's
the house has
years
been
now.
bad for a
No,
long time.
the house has been
No,
bad.
even the tree.
Yeah.
It's been there longer than that. I mean, I got some calls about it this week.
Mhm.
I told them it's already on the list.
Good.
It's been terrible shape.
Yeah.
Moving out somebody who was living in there for a long time after
can't
the
miss
tree
it when
fell
you
off.
pass.
I know, it's horrible.
Okay.
All right, District 6, this is in Dustin's district.
Yes.
It's 238 Johnson Alley.
Johnson Alley, right. Okay.
Is that Trump? I mean, nobody's living there, is it?
No,
Okay.
No.
not
There's
from
a
what I
abandoned
saw.
vehicle, too.
I talked to Dustin, he said the neighbor said they just parked the truck there to make it look like somebody's in the house. So,
Good. Good. Well, like I said, this is just a new part of our tools to say, please get them fixed, because we unfortunately we're coming. Good. Thank you, Jim. And when's the next time you come back with some more houses?
well, the second meeting in February, we got the
what
others
I-
that we did the
Good.
30 days
That's what
on.
I thought. Okay, that's
So
fine.
it's-
I mean, that's plenty fast enough.
Okay.
Just what I want to
Whenever
do
you-
is between
Whenever y'all give me
houses,
some,
I'm gonna, and I'm
maybe we
asking the
can-
council.
maybe we can get y'all to give me 6 more for the
Yeah,
first meeting
that's what
in
I'm
March.
getting at. In other words, now what we should do is think of 6 more. If you have, if you don't have them, you don't have them. But think of 6 more that you can put in the pipeline. They might be further down. Don't get impatient on us. But these have been there so long. I really want to move the ball. So if you can think of 6 more, let's turn them into Hillary, and she'll document it, give it to Jimmy, and we will continue to keep the cycle moving. Yeah,
Jimmy, don't you have something already that you're working on? You said it was another stack?
yes.
Well, we had 7 that we brought to y'all.
Yeah.
4 of them would be demolished, which I've started doing the asbestos testing. There's 3 that we gave 30 days to.
Right.
So we're waiting for those 30 days. It'll be the second meeting in March.
Yeah, but there was another stack.
Then I have another batch,
Yes.
but I only have 5 or 6 in those because some people, there's one on Providence Street that the people tore down themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to get that list to Jeff pretty soon for him to start working on addresses, people who we
Yeah.
need to contact to send letters for a public hearing. And when I finish the first 7, those should be ready to go to come to
And
y'all
then when we
for
do
a
the
public
next
hearing.
ones, then after that, we'll come with these.
These, right.
And then we're gonna do. You're gonna turn in another one, and we're gonna come with another one because budgeting 100. I don't think until you sit here and realize how long it takes. The other thing is, the more time you give people, the more you slow our system down. If you give them 30 days and try to demand action and stay on that 30-day track, and don't give people 90 days and 120 days, then you keep the machine rolling because we had 60,000 and we've pledged that we'd come up with 100,000. So if we're going to spend $100,000 in a year tearing houses down, we got to move.
No, you gotta work at it.
You got to work at it. So what's happened in the past, and I mean, it just COVID slowed us down when we really had gotten going. We didn't have any money at first. Let's face the issue. We didn't have money to throw at it. Then we got money to throw at it. We got organized, and then COVID came. We said, wait a minute, we better not spend this money because we didn't know how our taxes were going to be. But now that our taxes are still holding firmly, thank you for shopping local. Our money is here. By doing this, we're going to constantly have some moving to try to meet our goal at the end of the year.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
Jimmy, so when it gets to the point of demolition, you have to go out for public bid for demolition or?
Yeah. We request for proposals.
Okay.
We got a list of demolition contractors. There must be 10 of them on it,
Yep.
or 12.
They don't all bid each time, but
No, but
Well,
I'm just
we've
curious
got
about
some
the
requirements they have to meet to be able to bid.
yeah, they got to have insurance. They
Insurance,
have to.
yeah.
disposal site and all that.
Then I have asbestos testing. Then I have asbestos removal before I can go out for bid. because they gotta take the asbestos out and send it to a special landfill. Then we take the bids for them to tear it down, because once that's out, that affects the price.
Anybody else? Thank y'all. Thank y'all. We're moving. We're getting excited. Now we move on to item 7, Councilman's remarks. I don't know where I started last. I'll start with Brooke this time.
Okay. First, I'd like to send my condolences to the families, the 2 families that lost children over the weekend in gun violence. I cannot imagine what you guys are going through right now. It was just very sad to read that with the Daily Iberian. But I want to send my condolences. On a high note, there was a group of preteens in my neighborhood. They want to remain anonymous, but I want to let all of you guys know that they prayed for us. They went through the neighborhood, they prayed through all the streets, they prayed over my house, they came to City Hall to pray over City Hall, and they did the same thing at the courthouse. And I just thought it was very inspiring. I would like to have other kids do that. You know, it gives them something a little bit better to do, and it's a positive outlook for our community. And so I just wanted to share that with all of you and let y'all know that they were praying for us, you know, for all their community leaders, and I just thought it was very sweet. That's it.
Thank you.
I think. Do you want to talk about speed bumps real quick, or you can't?
Oh, it's your time. It's your time.
I've been here for 2 weeks now, and I have gotten several requests for speed lumps or speed bumps. I did tell my neighbors who requested it that we are not going to get them because of the possible damage it could do to vehicles. That's what I was told in the past.
The only place that we're going to get them is we're going to try them in the 3 parks.
Okay.
I said we're going to try them in the 3 parks.
Okay.
I'm willing to talk to the insurance company. They still don't like it, but we are willing because of the concentration of kids. That's, you know, we encourage people to go to the parks. We spend millions of dollars a year on our parks. So we are going to try them. It has to be the approved ones out of the speeds and table or the speed lump that are wide, and we will try them in the 3 parks. But as far as on city streets, that is not something that we are. I've watched many communities put them down, take them back up because of lawsuits, and have issues. So we're gonna, I'm committed that we can try them in the 3 parks.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
And actually, I invented Councilman's remarks because before that, you leave the meeting, you didn't have anything. And so when I was the pro tem, I said we have to have a time that, if you're getting 50 calls about something, this meeting's very structured. You don't have time to make a remark about it or to say, hey, I want to bring it up. So that's what this is for. Okay. This is, I got all night.
I'm still learning. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Councilman Lewis.
Man, I just want to thank the people who participated yesterday in the day of service, for Martin Luther King holiday. They asked, the country asked, people asked that you do a day of service. So I want to thank the people that did that yesterday. Several groups were involved yesterday in everything from COVID testing to graveyard cleanups to they had a program on the corner of Hopkins and on Robinson Street. I just want to thank those people, and my condolences as well for the families involved in those murders, and also my prayers is that peace come over our land. I mean, everybody knows what happened, and I don't think I can say enough about it. So that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Councilman Broussard.
I'd like to remark too about the deaths of those teens. That's rough when you have a shootout in your own town. So young. And I want to remind the people that there's COVID stuff in the schools. They always talk about the teachers and principals. You don't hear anything about the bus drivers. We confine. We have 35, 40 kids in them school buses every day. And they have a bunch of buses that are getting COVID through the kids, You see them missing for 2 weeks, but they rode that bus the day before. So a little bit prayers go out to the bus drivers too. We're on the front lines of picking them up and dropping them off at school. All I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
First off, I'd like to start off by, second meeting in public, and I'm really encouraged by the energy and the passion that this council shows toward their community. But I've taken the liberty and my time to visit with the mayor and go meet most all the employees in the city. We're not finished yet.
Nope.
We're going to complete the I call it a engagement tour this week. Met with the police department, employees of City Hall, and it's amazing the energy and the passion that these employees have for you guys and who they work for. And it's a winning team, and I'm excited to be able to make the decisions and work for them and get behind them to do the right thing for our community. So I'm all hands on deck when it comes to the employees in this council, and I encourage everybody else to do the same. Also, you know, as we all work hard every day and we come home and we turn on our TV, and it's not the best thing that we want to do, and we see this nation's divided. And whatever reason we decide, whatever way we voted, tomorrow our president's getting inaugurated, 46th president. So I think as a community and as the United States of America, we need to get behind as one and try to improve our leadership, improve the country as a whole. We may not all agree with everything that's going on, but as leaders in this community, if we don't get behind and focus on what's good for this nation and this community, we can't never win. So, you know, I encourage you to get behind the decision that the election has resulted. It's over with, and let's be a part of a winning team.
Thank you. Councilman Ledbetter.
I just want to say that on yesterday, you know, we usually have our annual Martin Luther King Day celebration at the West End, and we didn't have it this year due to COVID. Hopefully on next year it'll be back, and of course everybody's invited to the celebration, and many council members do attend, and that's a very good thing. So yesterday was a day of service. With COVID, it's hard to do service. You have to social distance. Usually, you know, outside is pretty good and all. So I do want to thank those who were able to go out and do those things like Councilman Lewis said. And just continue to be safe. If you're over 70, please call and try to get your vaccination. They have some at Iberia Comprehensive, L&L, Super One. Call around. They have some in Lafayette. Go online to the Louisiana Department of Health on KLFY. They have some on their website, the places that you can get it. Everybody needs to be vaccinated as soon as they call your group. So if you know a person over 70, please encourage them to get vaccinated. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Reed.
I just want to kind of reiterate everyone said about what happened in the community where the two young men lost their lives. I'm praying for the families, and I hope that as a council we can come together and figure out how we can help to heal our community, because, you know, I don't know what else has to happen for us to try and figure out how to solve gun violence in the community, because this is one of the worst things that could possibly happen. Two young kids think that the only way to solve their problems is by shooting each other. It breaks my heart. I also like to thank the Weckner Group and Life Grief Ministries and Attorney Carolyn Deal and a few others who actually put on the mask giveaway yesterday. They gave away thousands of masks. Oh, and the parish government for getting the National Guard out there to do COVID testing. They gave away thousands of masks. People were very appreciative to, you know, be able to come in and get their COVID test and then get some really good masks. And they're going to be doing more of that in the future. And then I'd also like to thank the New Chapter Push who put on the MLK celebration yesterday. They had some really good speakers that really kind of gave the people in the community some good ideas and some things to think about as they move forward in this year. So I would say thank you guys for everything you did. And then the last thing is, please wear your mask. There are people that are dying of COVID every day. I know of 5 people that died in the last few weeks of COVID. We have got to take this seriously. We have got to put our mask on. And we need everybody in the community to care about each other enough to put on a mask. Thank you.
Thank you. I too send out my condolences to the family of the 2 victims. You know, it is a tragedy. You know, and I'm a bit at a loss to know what to do, and I think that it is a challenge. You know, when I know the facts that our police department was there in 1 minute, that they happen to be on a call right around the corner, because the chief and I check that constantly. So, police presence was not a factor because they were right around the corner. And to get to a scene that fast, so you put a ton of money, and the law enforcement, like I said, I couldn't be prouder. They do a great job. But there are some things that law enforcement can react to but can't prevent. They are things in our community that happen. To have 16-year-olds walking around that they feel they need a gun, that they live in a home with the rest of their family. So, does the family know they have guns? Those are the kind of things that we have changed as a society as a whole to accept some things that we should never be in a position to accept. And, how do we bring that and break that cycle and bring that out, that they are, violent tendencies that really don't solve your problems. And when we as a community, there's no other option except to shoot each other, that's just sad. That just really, really is a heartbreaker. And like I said, it's not we're not immune to it, but it's something that happens too often in many communities. And because we are Acadiana, when you watch the news, they basically cover our region, and you hear and see that way too often. So it's something that we can't not look at. Once you see something, you can't unsee it. Once you know it, you know it. So it is something that we are going to have to continue to try to look for solutions. I don't have one at this point, and I think that it's a big issue, and it's the whole community that has to solve these kind of problems. But it is sad, so my prayers and my condolences go out to the families. Any loss of life is under any circumstance, is at a young age, it's just, opportunities missed. So that is something that I can tell and see and feel that we'll be discussing, because it is something that, as community leaders, as people who will put up here to change New Iberia, and that's our focus, it's an issue we have to address. As our Pro Tem said, we are one nation, and we have to come together. I look at it that we are one city. Our city as a whole has one destiny, and it's either we're going to win, we're going to stay mediocre, or we're going to fail miserably. Right. But it's one destiny that we're going to come at together. And all of these issues, good, bad, ugly, all of this business we handle tonight, which many of it is good stuff, all of those things, plus all the bad, we have to take it collectively, and we have to work as a team. But we are a team, and we're going to get through this, and we will continue to do positive things and continue to succeed. And being a community leader is not always easy. I mean, you have issues. People are leaning on us to solve issues that are 30 and 40 years old sometimes. People are leaning on every new council person to solve an issue that they tried with the last council person, and in some instances, they tried with 3 and 4 council people before. It's a challenge, but hang in there and know that we are a team. My office and my staff will back you up. I will back you up, and we will get through good, bad, or whatever together. And I do feel we're moving New Iberia forward, so let's keep punching, because it is fun.
Can I interject a challenge?
Yeah, sure.
Look, we've heard some good ideas from our mayor, and a lot of the times we hear the problems that are going on in our community, but far too often we don't have solutions. Right. And so, if anybody picks up on the internet or a magazine and they read, what is the best effect that we can have on our community, we got to look at long-term solutions. Mm-hmm. And I think we have an opportunity here. I think the mayor allocated each of us with some funds to put towards our district to make improvements.
Good.
And I want to challenge each one of y'all. I'm going to put up the first $5,000 that we invest in a program called Leading Me in our schools. And I want to challenge each one of y'all to possibly give $5,000 of y'all money to the mayor to explore the options that we can do to Lead in Me and target some schools that we can make a difference. Because these younger kids is what we have to target. We have problems in our community, but we need long-term solutions. And I think by starting with these younger kids and doing something, and I heard the comment by Miss Didi on the news that we don't have something for our kids to do. We got to start somewhere, and it may be a small start, but at least we're making a start. And I encourage you to think about it and possibly come up with an idea that we can give our mayor each $5,000 and let him do some research. In Lafayette, it's very, very successful in the school system. Very successful. It's a small start, but I'd like to come to that challenge and make it happen.
I can tell you it's an effective program, because Obama started it, and Dr. Schumacher has paid for it to be in all the Lafayette schools. Happened to eat supper at my house one night, and I got a big schooling on, and you're catching kids at 3, 4, and 5 years old, and not, he basically, it shocked me. He basically said by 10 years old, their mindset is pretty well rigid. And by 13, 14, 15, you can't reverse the trend. I mean, you cannot turn those young lives' minds around, you know? So it is something I'd certainly be interested in, have been interested in it. And it might not just be that, you know? We might end up partnering with UL. We might end up saying, okay, Lafayette, I said I'm going to name your names, but they're the biggest city. Okay, Lafayette, you have those problems. Okay, what other communities has those problems? How can we pool our resources and look for some bigger picture answer? Because it's not a New Iberia problem. It's a society problem and a bigger problem than us. But you're right. If we can partner and say, how can we, and it might be the school board, it might be, you know, it's not out of the realm that the parks would entertain and do something or host something, you know. We've talked about partnering with Boys and Girls Club before. That might be an option for us in the future. There's no reason that we can't find, you know, a willing participant to help us. We have facilities, and we're not rich, but we have a little money, okay? If everybody agrees to do something like that, we have a small start that I think that we could find a program, and if nobody else would do it, well, then maybe we have to try to host it. But on the flip side, you know, UL's right. They constantly, I can't tell you how many professors reach out and have lately to say, you know, we'd like to help New Iberia. We see what you got going on. We'd like to partner. We are taking advantage a little bit of that with some marketing and a few things that I've met with a couple of professors on. But that's a resource. And I think the fact that we are asking for partnerships, we don't know who's going to come out. You know, we well could receive something because that's what's going to solve it. What we do is the business of the city. We're great at infrastructure. We're good at getting grants. We're good at thinking about tourism and thinking about drainage and flooding and, you know, all the things that a city normally does. But if we're going to change this place, we are going to, you're right, we're going to have to think out of the box, and we're going to have to address some issues that we maybe even shouldn't. And I mean that in a way that some things are not city governments to do. Some things are above us. But that doesn't mean we can't call for help. That doesn't mean we can't call for partnerships and fill those gaps into the things that maybe we can't afford to do, or it's a little beyond the scope of city government. But we can at least be the mouthpiece and the, you know, the conduit or the catalyst or the instigator to make it happen. So that's good, man.
I do want to mention we do have some leader in me schools.
We do.
Elementary
So, right.
is one. Parker goes to Daspin. They're the leader in me school.
Cool.
Lewis Street might be as well. I'm not sure.
I think Lewis Street maybe is. I think they are.
I don't know exactly how many in New Iberia we have, but we do have
a few.
some, so
And I
it's a
mean,
start,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
You know, but to get all of them, that'd be great.
Yeah. And if not that program, if there's something else that we see,
I just said leader in me.
because I Google constantly looking for, you know, the magic bullet, looking for what I travel. All of my trips lately have been nothing but going to communities that are succeeding that I can steal an idea. So, you know, now I feel like I got 7 people who are going to do the same thing. I mean, we had that last term, and I think we have that again. And I'm excited about the energy. So let's dig, because let's not rule out anything.
It's a little bit more complicated to find solutions to problems that are hurting our community. It's easier to find solutions to infrastructure, but these problems that we're dealing with now are more complicated, and we sometimes we have to think outside the box. And it may not be the success story we want, but if we don't try, we can't expect results.
Right. But I do find a difference in my son going to a leader in me school. You know, he has that leadership in him now. You know, they teach a really good program over there, so that is a good idea to get it implemented into more schools.
Good. Thank y'all. Our next meeting is February the 2nd, and I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Thank y'all.